Though we have all traveled many uncertain roads, we have always recognized something wasn't right. We searched high and low, yet our paths had never intersected. Our desire to seek truth, then to speak true, has brought us all together. That thing of ours is rooted in truth, because truth is the only unshakable foundation. In the greatest book, it states in John 8:32, "For ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free."
Truth is a powerful force. It is the foundation on which all great achievements are built, and the bedrock of trust and respect in any relationship. When we are rooted in truth, we can be confident that our decisions and actions are grounded in reality rather than in speculation or wishful thinking.
The pursuit of truth is not always easy. It requires courage, perseverance, and a willingness to face uncomfortable facts. But in the end, the truth is always worth it. It allows us to make better decisions, to build stronger relationships, and to create a more just and equitable world.
From politics and world events to entertainment and pop culture, we've got you covered. We'll explore our history and the stories that matter to uncover the truth that lies at the heart of each one. With our fingers on the pulse of the news cycle, we'll provide the insights and analysis you need to stay informed and engaged. As we stay rooted in truth and let the truth guide us in all that we do, let us be willing to listen, to learn, and seek out the facts, even when they challenge our own assumptions or beliefs.
Let us never forget that the pursuit of truth is not just an individual endeavor, but a collective one. Only by working together
With honesty and integrity,
can we build a better future for ourselves
And for generations to come.
This
is
That Thing of Ours.
How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us today on this Thursday, 8th of August, 2024.
Lionsgate.
The Lions Gate. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and pill.net. And
Hey.
TikTok can go suck it.
Exactly. And if you haven't already, please give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. If you're over on Pill, take that red pill. If you're on X, smash that heart. And again, TikTok can suck my butt. They shut down our account.
They shut down our account today. We got bananaed.
We did.
Whatever. All right.
Whatevs.
And they hit us for something from years ago.
Yes,
Apparently somebody just doesn't like us. I have no idea who that would be.
I know.
Hmm.
So let's say hi to the fam.
What's up, fam?
Got
What-
F. Clint in the house.
What's up, F. Clan?
Got Chachi in the house.
Hey, Chachi.
Miss Jenny.
Jenny.
Watch out for the frogs, Jenny.
Watch out for frogs, Jenny.
Mike.
There's Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Got Miss Bethany in.
There's Bethany Ann.
F. Clint over Sean Love on Pilled.
F. Clan, he's all over the place.
And Twitch.
And apparently Twitch.
There's Light Spirit.
What's up, Light Spirit?
Miss Wendy.
There's Wendy. How you doing, Wendy? Watching The Matrix. Had to pause so I could be here. Well, thank you. Didn't realize the time. That's okay.
You know what? It happens. It happens.
It does happen. It's a good flick, too. Yeah. Above the mark somewhere.
We are.
Hmm.
They don't like it.
They don't like it. Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Get glad in the same pants they got mad in.
Exactly.
They could use a little bit of forgiveness in their heart, couldn't they?
They could use something.
Some.
I won't say what I think they could use, but I'll just leave it at that.
So.
Hey, yeah.
I hear you, F. Clan. I hear you.
Really? It freaks you out?
It freaks you out? Really? The Matrix freaks you out? What is it that freaks you out? I'm curious about that. That's interesting. Yeah, that is interesting.
Hmm.
It's a great allegory. It's just Plato's allegory of the cave in a modern, terrifying kind of setting.
Yeah. So, you ready? Because we got
Yeah.
a lot to go over.
All right, let's do it.
So in Georgia, the state board election is going to discuss SEB 2023-025, 17,852 votes counted with no ballot images, 20,713 original votes from tabulators out of thin air.
No votes.
3,930 duplicate counted and inserted via intentional human intervention, aka fraud.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah. As if the other things weren't fraud. But yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's do this.
You all know our case is SEB 2023, thank you, -25. In that case, you know that it involved 17,852 votes counted without ballot images. You also know that for the first machine count, 20,713 ballots were counted with what I like to call receipts. I guess the fancy word is tabulator tapes. And I always like to say you can't get out of Walmart these days without showing your receipt, but for some reason you can count 20,000 votes without a receipt. The last part of this complaint perhaps is the most concerning because we've uncovered some recent information that makes it so. In addition to proving that 3,930 ballots were scanned and counted. I want to say that again, and counted. And I sure hope that Miss Charlene McGowan is listening. Miss McGowan, on May 7th, you and your team got up before the board and said, yeah, I think Mr. Rossi's right. These ballots were scanned twice, but we're not sure if they were counted twice. That is a lie. And we know that because the data that shows they're counted twice is on the cast vote records, and that is available to the Secretary of State. Other experts know that those ballots were counted twice. Media sources know, I saw Mr. Nisi from the AJC just walk up here, and not to get him in trouble, but he recently reported he thinks they were counted twice also. And that's from the AJC. Sorry, Mark, if I'm going too far, just say, stop, Joe, you're gonna get me in trouble. Okay, so they were counted twice for the second machine count. We know with certainty that this duplication of ballots was not, I want to repeat, was not an administrative error. And I'm going to demonstrate to you how we know that shortly. Rather, the duplication process was due to intentional human intervention. And I'm not a lawyer, but when I ran this by a few lawyers, they told me this is the phrase. Intentional human intervention is the predicate for election, I'm going to use the F word, fraud. Okay, you're going to hear me say that several times.
That audio was awful.
So thoughts.
Wow. If only somebody had said something sooner, we might have been able to do something about this. But good thing is now it's being said, and it's being said by official sources, and those official sources are going to follow through with this. So I think that this is nothing but good news in terms of the truth coming out about the election that was stolen. It's certainly going to leave a lot of things up in the air. Have no idea how that's really going to pan out, but I know that it's going to be interesting because now that this is being stated in a public forum and it's being stated in terms of
yesterday, Tracy,
actual fraud, the word fraud was used. That's big. That's really big, and that shows that there's some positive movement forward, and we can all use some positive movement forward, especially when it comes to people recognizing that the election was stolen
Right.
before, and who knows how many more elections were stolen. That and the fact that did we ever really have a choice? Specifically the Bush and Kerry one. Both of them were bonesmen, or are bonesmen, or maybe probably were bonesmen now. But yeah, these are all good things, and I'm glad that it's happening.
Exactly. And
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Kay?
just one more thing.
Mhm.
I have went and followed a lot of people on our backup TikTok account of DTOO. So yes, that is me. I just wanted you guys to know that since the first one got bananaed. I did go and follow everyone that I could find on TikTok. So it is me following you guys. I don't know because I have another video about Georgia. You ready?
Georgia.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm waiting on you.
We have not met the obligations of the motion from the hearing of SEB 2023-025. Therefore, this case should be referred to the Attorney General with the instruction to immediately investigate with outside investigators the missing 17,852 ballot images, the 3,125 duplicated recount votes, and the missing documents proving that 10 scanners containing 20,713 votes were legally used at early voting sites during the election as listed in the complaint. Based on the advice of counsel, I believe the Attorney General may be conflicted and should seek advice of conflicts counsel to determine who should represent the state election board in investigating this matter. The Attorney General shall report their findings in 30 days to the state election board. If they are unable or unwilling to conduct this focused investigation, they should report to the state election board immediately, report it to the state election board immediately so that we may hire outside legal counsel and investigators to complete the investigation.
Are you finished?
Finished.
The letter of reprimand has already been received by Fulton County. You can't undo that at this point. Action's already been taken. There's also a principle in law that I've been advised of called res judicata. It's double jeopardy. For criminal cases, it's res judicata for civil cases, where you can't be tried twice for the same thing. Fulton County's been tried. Fulton County's been heard by this board. This board ruled on that on May the 7th. As I stated earlier, there is potential litigation on this. The Attorney General is the appropriate counsel for this board. This is a government board, the state of Georgia board. The Attorney General is our counsel for this. I haven't been advised by any outside counsel. I have not sought the advice of any outside counsel because the Attorney General represents this board. They represent me. They represent each member of this board. I have not seen any letters from outside counsel. So the chair's position, my position, is that that case has been adjudicated, that Fulton County has met its obligation. The Secretary of State met their part of the obligation. This board's failed to meet its portion of that obligation.
I move that we refer this case to the Attorney General with instruction to immediately investigate with outside investigators for the missing documents, the duplicated counting of ballots, and the missing ballot images listed in the complaint. And I would request a report back in 30 days of their findings. And if they are unwilling or unable to conduct an investigation, then I move that we seek outside legal counsel that can conduct the investigation.
Once again, the chair is going to rule that motion out of order. For reasons previously stated, that case has been adjudicated by this board on May the 7th.
I move to override the motion of the chair, the decision of the chair.
Second.
We have a motion to override the decision of the chair, and we have a second. I do want to caution this board that we are putting this board in legal jeopardy by approving that motion.
In other words,
I
our
wanna make
ass
sure that
is,
the Attorney General is aware of that. And the chair will call for a individual voice vote on that motion. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we will go in order of seniority. Member Gazal, how do you vote?
Nay.
Member Johnston, how do you vote?
Aye.
The chairman votes nay. Member Jeffries, how do you vote?
Aye.
Member King, how do you vote?
Aye.
The motion passes. Once again, I caution this board on their actions. And please make sure that the actual votes are in the record for any future potential litigation.
Thoughts?
did you want to say something? All right. So I find it amusing that there were the two people who wanted to cover their own ass. I have a feeling that, what is it in storytelling? Was it foreshadowing? I have a feeling there might be some foreshadowing there in terms of what we're probably going to see. But with that being said, he got overridden and now it's actually going to move forward. And it's already set in place that if the attorney general can't follow through with it or, any number of things, that outside counsel should be sought. So I have a feeling that this is really going to finally start moving forward because there aren't enough people to block the motion to do an actual investigation, unlike the, we were accused of wrongdoing and we investigated ourselves and we decided that, we're good. And I think that we're going to move beyond that at this point in time, at the very least. Tracy says he seems like he's the only scared one. That's a possibility. When he says, I know why, it's part of the plan, but damn, why have we had to wait 4 years for this? And the 4 years, the chair, exactly, Mike, the chair is about to shit himself. And the walls are closing in. I would say that the reason why it's taken 4 years is because we had to wake everybody else up that's awake at this point in time through all of the other shenanigans that we've had to watch during this entire scenario.
Yeah.
Each major moment, be it the January 6th, so 2019, there was the Rona, and then all of the things that were going on then. Each impeachment woke, groups of people up. Let's see, then there were the train crashes. There was the boats crashing into bridges.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
The planes, trains, and automobiles, doing planes, trains, and automobile things that have been going on. And think about each one of these major incidents that have happened over the course of the past 4 to 8 years has woken different groups of people up. And so certainly over the past 4 years, there's enough people now that once this ball starts rolling, that there will be no stopping this avalanche, unlike they were able to do before, because I don't believe that there was enough momentum and human energy behind finding out the truth. Now I believe that there's a lot more human energy and focus on getting to the truth that we didn't have before. Bethany says his voice even seemed a bit wavering. Yeah, what's happening, Mr. Chairman? And yeah, he did sound like he was nervous, and the best he could do is to caution the board about their own liability. And so what that tells me is he was
his liability.
no,
That's what it
he's not going down without taking other people with him, and he knows the bodies that are buried that the rest of the board members have, but I don't think they care anymore. I think that that the ones who voted yay, in other words, for the resolution, I believe that he doesn't hold that power over them anymore, and that the truth is more important. And being able to sleep at night might have something to do with that as well.
Well, yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly.
I believe that. Yeah, we're finally starting to get there.
Exactly. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Dad sent this to me, so shout out to Dad.
Shout out, Dad.
Play this. It's about Google and how it.
The Google.
Yeah.
You ready?
Hallelujah. Huge Trump court victory against Google.
Ready?
Yep.
What's up, family? Welcome back to Truthville, USA. I am Q. I am so excited. We are winning. Guys, I am so excited about this court case that just came down, this decision that came down out of California, or out of DC, actually, of all places. So Biden is taking a victory lap for this, but that is a lie. This case that was decided against Google last week had nothing to do with Biden and everything to do with the Trump DOJ. They started this case against Google and claiming that Google had a monopoly. This was an antitrust case brought against Google, and it had mostly to do with how Google was handling their search their search results. If you guys would notice, most of the positive news about Trump, about conservatives, was always buried. In fact, you couldn't even find, unless you were looking for it, even information about Donald Trump's assassination. It was suppressed. And so this court case came down, and it sounds like they are going to force Google to break up. They feel that they have an incredible monopoly. This is not something that has happened in a couple of decades, that a company has been found, has been ruled against in an antitrust case. And guys, Donald Trump and his DOJ started this. Biden took over it. Donald Trump in his second term would have been able to see this through. Biden, I don't believe, would have ever brought this case against them, but because the case was already started, his DOJ had to continue with it. The judge ruled in their favor and found that Google did have a monopoly. And now they are figuring out the remedy for that. Guys, I think that it is being downplayed by the mainstream media because Google has been a huge success story for them, because they've been able to use Google and they've been able to suppress stories that need to be seen. And it's made it very difficult for DuckDuckGo, for Bing, for other search engines to be able to get a foothold. Google has been able to get priority as a search engine for most of the cell phone manufacturers and most of the computer software. And it's been now said that this cannot happen. This cannot continue. Guys, this is going to force the market to react. It's going to give other search engines a fighting chance. It's also going to force Google to become less of a Democrat and a leftist leaning tool. And it's going to force honest news to be pushed up forward for everyone to see. Guys, I cannot overestimate or over report how important this is for our country. And I'm amazed that a DC judge actually ruled in Trump's favor on this. This is something that got ran forward by the Attorney General from Missouri. We've seen what Bailey has been doing. I hope that there is a spot for him in the Trump administration. He has shown himself to probably, well, not even probably, to be the toughest state AG in the union. There's some great ones, but Attorney General Bailey has absolutely led the way. I'm super excited, super proud of him. But guys, don't let the left take this away from you. This is not a Biden victory. This is a Trump victory all the way. This is a victory for America. We are winning. We must win. America is still worth saving. We will save it, because if America fails, where else will we go? Guys, comment below. Let me know what you guys think about this story. Let me know if you've heard about this story or if it's been suppressed from you as well. I'll see you guys next time. Be blessed.
All right, thoughts?
First, it's not a surprise that Biden's going to try to take credit for it, that they somehow did something good.
Right.
That's just politics 101. Oh, look, a good thing happened. Yeah, we did that.
That was me.
Yeah, and the only people that are going to buy that are going to be the people that were already liked him anyways. Outside of that, nobody believes it. I think that enough people are aware enough that they're going to take credit for things that they had nothing to do with. And so, yeah, that part's not a surprise. Although the thought of Google getting broken up is a pretty interesting concept. The last big breakup would have been Ma Bell. So AT&T, they're still around. They still have tons of power. They're still in cahoots with so much of everything that's going on. Standard Oil, when it got broken up, I mean, that's how we got Exxon and Chevron and all these other all of these companies, right? So it's still Standard Oil. It's just a bigger behemoth than it was before.
Right.
So is that very helpful? Well, I don't know, right? It's not like they took away Rockefeller's ownership. They just made him more rich and more powerful. Yeah. Yay. So
Well,
is
there's
this
that.
is
I
this
mean,
going?
if you want to be so negative about
Well,
it.
I'm just being historical about it.
I know.
So the question is this going to make Sergey Brin and what's the other guy's name? Larry Page. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is this
him.
only going to give them more, or is this an actual breaking up and they're not going to have the power that they once had? It's an interesting question. I'm curious as to what it's going to look like, but it will be nice because it's on the radar specifically about their curation of the news and the information that's received. That speaks directly to propaganda, and it's something that's in the record books. It's something that can be taken advantage of once we, the people, wrest control back from our country. By the way, thank you, Rambo, for that gift. We are truly appreciative of that, man. So thank you very much. So yeah, what's really going to happen? It's going to be difficult to tell right now. It's going to be one of those, what have you given us kind of things after it's all said and done. But with the corruption, the collusion that's gone on across so many industries, I have a feeling that that there's going to be some fingers that are pointed, and there's probably some real evidence about that collusion in the paperwork that's buried inside. Because when they're sued, they're going to make all sorts of requests for information from Google. So they probably, my guess is inundated them with tons of paperwork. And some of that paperwork probably has information in it that they didn't really want out. So I have a feeling that this is going to be a gift that keeps on giving for a long time to come.
I agree.
I try to show up, but you keep going online when I'm in class, man. I'd be there. I promise I would.
I watch it. You ready?
Yeah.
I got Bishop.
Okay.
So, verse 9, here is the mind which has wisdom. Which is the mind that has wisdom? It is the mind of Christ. It is the only mind that has wisdom, is the mind of Christ. And here is the mind which has wisdom. Blessed is the soul that has the mind of Christ. Because when you have the mind of Christ, you are walking in wisdom. And if you don't have it, then there is ignorance opposite to wisdom. Blessed, here is the mind which has wisdom, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. All glory to his holy name. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. There are also 7 kings. 5 have fallen. Which are the 5? Egyptian Empire, Assyrian Empire, Babylonian Empire, Persian and Medes Empire, and the Greek Empire. These have fallen. And then one is the Roman Empire, and the other has not yet come, the British Empire. And when he comes, he must continue a short time. British Empire remained for a short time and was slain at the end of World War II. The beast that was and is not is himself also the 8th. UN, United Nations, is the 8th, which is of the 7 and is going to perdition. United Nations will perish from the face of this earth eventually. Verse 12. The 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings who have received no kingdom as yet, but they receive authority for 1 hour as kings with the beast. Now, in this, I'll just give you this thought. The 10 kings which have not received authority yet, it is said that these 10 kings will come out of Europe. It is said that there will be 10 countries united out of Europe. Because one of the interpretations that the Roman Empire, even though it fell, but it did not disappear entirely, because the Roman Empire is the EU of our days, the European nations, or the European Union. This is the Roman Empire of our time. However, they are not all united, but there will be 10 countries that will come together. What will they do to this woman? Verse 13, these are of one mind, and they will give their power and authority to the beast. When you look at Europe, do you see atheism sweeping Europe? Where is Europe now? The churches are now nothing but empty buildings, museums, and God knows what else they've been turned into. They are losing faithfuls left, right, and center. You go to the European countries one by one. Once upon a time, they were built. They were based on Christian values, Christian morals, Christian ethics. Today, they are denying Jesus Christ. They're saying we're atheists. Germany, Sweden, Holland, European nations. On the other hand, look at Canada, look at Australia, and look at our next door neighbor, New Zealand. LGB was authorized and approved in New Zealand before Australia. People used to fly there to do whatever and then come back. Canberra was the first one to embrace, and then followed by all the states. Coming back to this. These 10 horns are going to be, one of the interpretations, going to be 10 nations from the EU, European Union. This is European countries who are absolutely atheist to the core. They will go against the Lord completely. What will happen? They are, verse 13, these are of one mind, and they will give their power and authority to the beast. These will make war with the Lamb. They have denied Jesus Christ. The Lamb of God is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. They will go and make war with the Lamb. But what will the Lamb do? And the Lamb will overcome them, for he is Lord of Lords and King of Kings. And those who are with him are called chosen and faithful. Those who are with the Lamb are called chosen and faithful. They will go against Jesus Christ of Nazareth. The whole, let me assure you, let me tell you, the whole thing that is happening at a global level, it is all because of this man called Jesus Christ of Nazareth. If it was not for the Lord Jesus, you would not have seen nobody fighting, nobody coming up with viruses, nobody coming up with pandemics, nobody coming up with lockdowns. All this turmoil is because of this man. No one else. And I'm saying it out of love and respect to all the other religions. I'm saying it out of love and respect. One day, sooner or later, you'll understand and you will know. It's all about this man, no one else. The moment you invoke the name Jesus Christ of Nazareth, all hell breaks loose. All hell breaks loose. The churches are always under the spotlight. One small thing, look at this church. Look what they're doing. They don't want to accept this flag or that flag. And I'll burn that flag. Get out of my sight. I love everyone. My only flag is the Holy Cross. That is my flag. This is the sign of salvation and redemption. That's the only flag I'll put over my head. No other flag. And whoever claims to be a Christian and put another flag outside of the Holy Cross is the son of a snake, not a Christian. Don't ever call yourself a Christian. Shame on you. I love you, but shame on you. I pray for you, but shame on you. The church has one flag and one only, the Holy Cross. They will make war against the Lamb. Bunch of jokers, honestly. You know, I pray we all meet the Lord Jesus face to face soon. For me, I pray very, very soon. I pray very, very soon. Let me tell you, my beloved, when you meet Jesus Christ of Nazareth face to face, you will then and then only for sure, beyond the slightest of any doubts, you will know, not only believe, you will know, because there you will see him face to face. You don't need faith anymore. You're going to see him face to face. When you see him there, you will know this is the only true living God ever to exist. There has never been, never will be any other God. But this sweetheart, his name is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. You will know this. No one will tell you, no one will teach you anymore, because Christ will reveal that to you himself. You will know this. And you will know that he was always in control from day one till the last day of existence. He was always in control. Nothing slipped out of his hand. For the palm of his hand, when he grabs something with his hand, no one can take anything out of this hand. It's the hand of God. Good luck. Go and fight against the Lamb. He overcame them. Why? Because he is the Lord of Lords and the King of all kings. If you think you are kings of the world, well, he is the King of all kings. He is the one who instates you, and he is the one who plugs you out of your roots. It is the Lord who is in control, no one else. No one else. It's the Lord.
That's why I constantly say control is an illusion. Thoughts, Santino?
Control is an illusion.
It really is.
First of all, love the bishop. Everything he says is absolutely amazing. He's such an enlightening character, and I love the fact that we have the internet. With all of the evils that the internet provides, it's nice to know that we can get some real truth for a change on the internet as well. And he's been a great voice.
And TikTok can still suck my butt.
Yeah. He's a great voice that truly gets the truth out there, and he's not afraid to tell the truth. Like, he even called out the pandemic at the beginning, middle of, beginning of the middle of that video. No, you can't argue with that. And it's about that faith. And I agree 100% that all of this is planned out. And I think that that's sometimes where we all get confused, where things don't make sense. And I think that that's because people are being led and they don't know why they do the things that they do.
Hey, Chelsea.
Hey, Chels, how you doing? Thanks. Back to school week has been crazy. Missed my family. Oh,
You know what? You're not going to want to miss next Thursday.
yeah, you're not going to want to miss next Thursday.
Miss Jenny, Christian, and Doc will be here.
Yeah, we're gonna have all of them on Thursday, next Thursday. So a week from today, we're truly excited about that. Yeah, that's gonna be an amazing time. Talk about really getting some brain
I know
power.
it's not ladylike, but TikTok has really pissed me off.
Yeah, well, I mean, TikTok is TikTok, and they're gonna do TikTok things. But the good thing is gives us some street cred because we got bananaed. Yay!
Yeah.
So yeah, yay! Feather in the cap. Called it macaroni. Anyway, so I think that that's one of the reasons why some of these things look kind of planned out, and the exact because they are, and the exact reason for that is because we know that God loves all of his children, no matter how messed up we can, as hard as we try to be messed up, he's still trying to bring his flock back together. And it looks like he wants the absolute largest flock that he can gather up. And I would say that that's goes back to the reason why we've had this miserable 4 years that we've had. And that is simply because it's designed to wake more people up. And the more people that are awake, the more hands that we're going to have. Many hands make light work, which means that the work that needs to be done to repair this nation, to get it back on track, to get rid of these ugly crackerjack boxes that they build for everybody to live in, to work in, just prefab concrete crap that they put up for everybody's business with no passion or heart in it whatsoever. It's going to take all of us to try to build it back, well, better than better, but based off what they wanted, but build it back for real this time. And I think that that's what's taken so long. I think that once we come out of the end of all of this, it's all going to make perfect sense, and everybody is going to be happy that stuck around for the ending and the beginning of the next age.
Hey,
or
Dad.
time. Hey, Dad.
You know what? But remember, the ending's not forever.
No, it's not going to be for everyone, but that not everyone that it's going to be for are going to be the people who refuse to wake up, and they stick to their, Kamala's the greatest thing ever to happen to the nation.
Speaking of Kamala, I got something for you.
I knew I
You
should have
ready?
said her name. It's like Beetlejuice.
It is like Beetlejuice. You ready?
Whatever. Oh, wait, that was yesterday.
Yeah, can't do that today. Let's go.
Fine. See, even the computer doesn't want to hear about Harry.
Well,
that's funny. Oh, geez, you made it work.
I did. That's kind of my job here,
Yeah.
sir.
All right.
Harry Sisson has now resorted to using AI images to try to act like people support Kamala Harris. This was his recent tweet. Hope, dedication, patriotism. That's the Kamala Harris campaign. Kamala Harris campaign also seems to be AI generated. This is not a real picture. Let's take a closer look. First of all, none of their phones are recording the same shit. This dude looks like he's watching a video on the hub. I have no clue what this person's watching. This dude is apparently zoomed in on two people having a conversation. Not to mention, AI still has trouble doing hands. Because if this is a real hand, something is broken. Not to mention, this person is filming that person's phone, apparently. This person is watching a video with captions. This person thinks the sky is really important, but this is very obviously not real. Do you understand how shitty your candidate has to be to resort to using AI? The worst part is this isn't even the first time we've caught them doing this. But in Harry's defense, this is the first time he's done it. This is the first time he's used AI to try to lie to people. I mean, he has no problem lying to people, but this is the first time he used AI to do it. Harry, look, I know it's not your fault, man. I know Midas Touch or Act Blue just sent you this and said you had to post it. And if you didn't, you weren't getting paid. But bro, look at the fucking picture next time.
Thoughts?
Harry strikes again.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever. The kid, He's just in it for the money.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's called a hooker.
Yes. Well, his candidate's a hooker, so.
Well,
So,
Harry the hooker. Yeah,
Harry's a hooker.
just putting it out there for everybody to see, whether they want to see it or not.
Hmm.
Yeah, the good thing is that the attempts. You know what? Actually, this just hit me. One of the things that it shows is that they don't have all of the resources that they used to have to be able to pull off the stuff that they used to pull off. It shows how simple and easy it is, and I think that's screwing people for money. Exactly, Aaron. It's kind of what it is.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for joining. So this is yet another indicator that the crap that they put out, they don't have the resources that they used to have. They don't have the money that they used to have to be able to maintain what they did before, let alone get any new people. And they're hemorrhaging people as they continue to grow brains. Spontaneous brain, growth is amazing, and we're seeing that. But it's also helping that their attempts suck more and more every day.
They do. They really do. Are you ready?
Yeah, there's so many tasteless jokes. I could go there.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
That's why we're
Fill in
moving
your
on.
own tasteless jokes. There we go. All right,
Ready?
moving on.
Let's go.
All right.
We got Preston.
All right, let's hear Preston.
In all of my time in politics, I never thought that I would see the day in which America is so close to the edge of socialism as we are today. Yesterday, we learned that we are no longer campaigning against just the Democratic Party, but we are campaigning against the socialist machine that has an agenda that should terrify every single American. Kamala Harris's VP pick of Tim Walz proved to the American people yesterday that she is far more radical than what we ever thought she was. In fact, she is far more radical than any individual sitting here in Capitol Hill today. And make absolutely no mistake, if Kamala Harris and Tim Walz were to win the election in November, America would be absolutely unrecognizable within the first 100 days of their administration. They are a complete threat to our democracy and every single thing that America stands for. Their goal is power and destruction. As Americans, we have two choices. We can allow this decision to put us into a place of fear or hopelessness, or we can allow this decision to wake us up and realize that our voices are more important today than what they were last week. Our voices carry far more power than what they've ever carried before. And as patriots, and as Americans who love this country, and are committed and dedicated to preserving this country, we must utilize our voices more than we ever have before. To every individual out there who loves this country, my message is this: don't you dare lose hope. That is exactly what the Democratic Party and the Harris campaign want you to do. They want you to be fearful. They want you to feel hopeless. And they want you to retreat in silence. That is exactly why Kamala Harris refuses to answer any questions from the media, refuses to debate, and allows her team to delete any type of opposition from social media. They want opposition silenced because they know the opposition is far greater than her supporters. This election most certainly will not be an easy won election, and we've known that from day one. But what I didn't realize was just how terrifying the stakes are till she chose him as her running mate. While there are many conservatives in this app that do not have content, I encourage you to now speak out. Speak out in support of President Trump. Speak out in support of getting individuals registered to vote. Use your voice more than you ever have before, because it's going to take all of us, not just creators who speak regularly, but every single one of us to make this win happen in November. And quite frankly, the stakes are far too high to not speak out. Much love. God bless.
Thoughts?
It's important. It's our right, the right to freedom of speech. Obviously, they've been denying us our redress of grievances, so we use what else we have, and that's the First Amendment. We're going to use that. We're going to speak as much as we can. We speak to everybody. We speak to people on the street. We speak to people in class. We speak to people at the grocery store. We speak to people wherever it is. But that's what we have to do because it brings awareness. And the good thing about that is as we speak to more and more people, we start to recognize that more and more people actually agree with the things that we're saying, to include things like flat earth, in which case we were having an open conversation about flat earth in class yesterday, and people are asking questions, and they're open to those ideas and concepts. Exactly, Rambo. Unity. That's exactly what it is, and that unity is people being able to speak with each other, and if we disagree, we can accept the disagreements, but at the same time, we recognize that it's worth so much more than an agreement, because the agreement isn't the goal. What's the goal is the fact that we can all live in one place together, because, well, people are people, and each one of them has their own ideas, concepts about how life should be lived. And like Preston was pointing out, these socialists, they're trying to take over. Well, the problem with that is that they think that everybody has to think just like them. And we don't agree with that, because we can see the flaws in what they say. And so another reason why it's so important for us to unify is so that way we can recognize that there is a place for all of us to live. And I'm not going to get into it too deeply, but I believe that whole 30,000.org thing would give those people a chance in their own little small section to have their little socialist utopia, and then they can learn on their own, as opposed to dragging the rest of us down with them and trying to force something on an entire nation that, most of everybody doesn't want. So with that being said, Preston hit the real important point, that is to get out there and talk to people, get people to open up about what they see, what they think, and how they feel. And it can even help them recognize that they're not all alone in their thought process, that there's been rigging going on, that they're going after Trump illegally, all of these things. These are all things that stress people out. But when they recognize that they're not alone, that's when the real healing begins. And that is what creates the unity, because we find out that it's not just white, it's not black, it's not Indian, Hispanic, Asian, whatever the case is. We recognize that we are one, and that is what truly matters.
Amen. How about some Kelly?
Yeah, we could use some Kelly.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right. So you're a Christian now. Gave your life to Jesus. Been spending time in his word. But what about the music I listen to? What about the movies I watch? Does that stuff have to change now? If I'm a follower of Jesus, do I only listen to worship? Look, those are some really good questions. And if you've been wondering that, you're not alone. So let's walk through this together and see what the Bible says. Well, the Bible does tell us that our walk with God is a journey. It also says don't stop believing. And those weren't out of the book of Steve Perry. Look, there are a million scriptures that I can show you that talk about how important it is what we put in our mind. Because what we think about, we will speak about. And my Bible says in Proverbs that life and death is in the power of the tongue. Understand, your words are the most powerful thing you have. You're creating the world around you every time you speak. And you're speaking about what you put in, which is why the Bible also tells us that we are not defiled by what goes in us. Rather, what comes out of us. Look, there's nowhere in the Bible that's going to tell you only listen to Hillsong and Elevation. It doesn't say you can only watch The Chosen and Fireproof. As a Christian, you can still do anything you want. You have free will, but there's one scripture, only one, that you really need to know when asking this question. And that is Ephesians 4:30, which says, do not bring sorrow to God's Holy Spirit by the way you live. Remember, he has identified you as his own, guaranteeing that you will be saved on the day of redemption. Oh, son, did you catch that? What that verse just told you is, when you got saved, you got a new roommate. And have you ever had a roommate before? Yeah, I'm sure you're just flooded with great memories now, aren't you? When you get a roommate, things have to change. You can't live life the way you did before. I can't just walk around my living room naked at 10 a.m. anymore. I might bring sorrow to someone. You get what I mean. You adjust the way you live because of who's living with you. Now, the thing about the roommates I had in my life, if we stopped getting along or they did something I didn't like, no big deal. I'm out. I'll go find a new place to live with somebody else. However, that's not how God works. See, my Bible says he will never leave you or forsake you. So what that's telling us is when we get saved and we get the Holy Spirit living on the inside of us, he's not going to leave regardless of what you do. Okay, Kelly, so the Holy Spirit lives in me. He's not leaving. What does that have to do with listening to secular music or watching movies? Great question. I'm so glad you asked. You see, we love to say that Jesus lives in our heart, but that's not actually true. Jesus is at the right hand of the Father interceding on your behalf. The Holy Spirit is who we have on this earth. And since he chooses to live in you, that means he goes where you go. He watches what you watch. He listens to what you listen to. Now stop and think for a minute. When was the last time You even considered, Holy Spirit, do you want to watch this? Do you want to listen to this? Do you want to go here? You see, the truth is, so many people have the Holy Spirit as their roommate, and they don't communicate with him at all. I mean, come on. How ridiculous would it be if I came to visit you and everywhere you went, I went? You're in the car, I'm in the car. You go eat, I go eat. But I never say a word to you. I'm there with you in all things, but just silence. Then at the end of the week, before I go home, I finally speak up. Hey, bro, I'm really hurting on my rent this week. I don't know if I can pay it. Do you think you could help me out a little bit? You mean you only want to talk to me when you need something? Sound familiar? So many people have the Holy Spirit in them, and yet they never acknowledge him. This is why Ephesians 4:30 says, do not bring sorrow to God's Holy Spirit by the way you live. Please understand, you don't have to ask me or anyone else. Is this a sin? Is that a sin? Can I do this as a Christian? Will I go to heaven if I do this? Don't you know God lives in you? Ask him. He'll tell you what he wants to do. He'll let you know if he doesn't want to watch it. He'll let you know if he doesn't want to listen to it. But you gotta ask. Look, I'll be real with you. I don't just listen to Christian music, but I always listen to the Holy Spirit. If I get in my car and turn on the Pixies and the Holy Spirit tells me I don't want to listen to the Pixies, I don't play it because I'd rather please him than my flesh. God will always lead you with peace. The enemy will push you and pull you with stress and anxiety. If you don't have a peace about listening to it, watching it, doing it, going there, don't do it. Stress and anxiety are not from God. So if you don't have a peace, that's your answer. So let me encourage you today. Your words are powerful. Be mindful of what you let in here because it's going to get in your heart and pour out your mouth. And whether you like it or not, your mouth is shaping the world around you. And please, my friends, never forget, you have the most amazing and wonderful roommate of all time living inside of you. Don't bring sorrow to him by the way you live. He wants to spend time with you. So spend time with him. Ask if he wants to do those things. And if you have a peace about it, don't let anyone steal that from you. Telling you, oh, you're going to hell. They're just mad because you have freedom in Christ and they don't. And think about that for a minute.
All right, Santino, thoughts?
I'm glad he brought this up because music really is like a big deal. And we all love music. It speaks directly to our heart in a lot of ways, even when our hearts are shut down. It's that, bit of emotion that's conveyed through the music. And that's important. It's important that, we understand that there's still emotions and that we can feel things. It, helps us remember some stuff or whatever you listen to music for. But I will say that the words, especially for songs that we love, are you really listening to the words? Because how many words or how many songs, and it's been a while since we talked about songs and the lyrics and what it actually means, but I know that y'all have probably seen the research and some of the videos about it, like the Electric Slide. That one was, kind of a real mind, that really expanded my thinking in terms of the things that they were really saying in music. And to think that, you're sitting there singing along with some of these songs and the words that are being spoken, really listen to the words. It's kind of like on television. We watch all these sitcoms, or we used to watch all these sitcoms, and you take away the laugh track on what they have and you listen to the things that they're actually saying. And we realize that really these are things that you wouldn't say to anybody. And so I think that it's truly important to recognize what you're listening to, because it really can have an effect on what your mood is at that point in time. Have you recognized that people listen to certain kinds of music have a generally similar kind of I guess, an emotional state, a state of either happiness or anger or whatever the case is? The music plays a big role in that because they're communicating those words. They're casting those spells. And so do we need to listen to nothing but Christian music? No, not at all. But listen to the music, and not only listen to it, but hear what the words that are being said, hear the message that's being conveyed, and think about the fact that you are communicating those words with that emotion behind it. And so therefore, that is what you are bringing into your life. And like like we've said before on the show, and he even touched on it, words are spells. You're casting those spells. Really be conscious of what you put out there, because that's really what you're telling the world around you about how you feel about life. And it will show you, God will show you more of what you're singing about. So just be conscious of it. And I think that that's the most important thing.
Absolutely. You ready?
Yep. Uh-oh. Oh, geez. Hello, Agent Smith.
But the fact that honestly, it's the only thing that brings me any hope, because I don't think we're getting out of it.
No, of course not. But right. But that shouldn't be surprising either. I mean, again, I just can't believe that in the end, when it really gets intense, as it is now, that it's Christians, it's people who actually believe the Bible are the only ones with wisdom who understand what's really going on. They're not shocked at all. And they're not panicked either. They get it. It's so interesting. That itself is a biblical principle. The last shall be first. The most, the humble among you will be exalted. It's like everything's the opposite of what you thought it was. Victory is defeat. Christianity is defeat. Being tortured to death is actually victory. It's like it's just. But once you start, even if you're not a Christian, which I think you should be because it's true. But even if you're not, you can acknowledge, just having lived here for a while, that is absolutely the way things work.
To live is Christ, to die is gain. He said Christians will be the only one with wisdom in the last days. Let me put that in better context for you guys. What Tucker Carlson is actually saying is it will be Christians who understand the true fight we are actually in. Because believe it or not, there are many people who realize this world is a matrix. They realize the government, the higher elites, it's all a matrix. But they believe it's all a pyramid situation that's leading up to higher human elites. While Christians, on the other hand, understand that it's actually a spiritual battle. And us as human beings, us as souls, us as spirits are really in a space where we are held captive and in bondage. And there is only one place to get the key to be freed, and that is Christ. That's better context for you guys. God bless. Shalom.
Thoughts?
So,
Thank you, Denise.
yes, and thank you very much, Denise. That's truly appreciated. Yeah, thank you. Let's see. So it was nice to hear Tucker say that. And it really hit home in terms of what he was saying, that the Christians are going to be the only ones that understand what's really going on. And I think that that's because a lot of people still see it from the secular worldview, and that is it's science. You still have to. They feel that science still proves a lot of things without understanding that science actually proves the Bible more than it disproves it. As a matter of fact, I don't think science disproves it. Otherwise, they'd be putting that up all over the place like they do space. But then again, and the moon landing, they keep telling us that crap, but we can see that it's all lies. So what they have are lies. And this is one more of those things where Christians have the ability to see what's really going on, because they recognize it's an attack on God. It's an attack on faith. It's an attack on our belief and our creator, because they can't think of a world where they didn't create it. And that's their own problem. And we recognize the spirit that they have by doing things like that, because they're trying to drag as many people down with them as they can, because they're so unhappy. That's why the Christians are able to see things the way they are. They're able to see the truth because they recognize it, because it's already mentioned in the Bible. It's already stated in the Bible that these are the things that are going to happen, and we're watching them happen, and we're seeing correlations between what's going on in the real world and the wisdom that's shared within the Bible. And those are the things that are important to me, because it does show that Christianity is real. Even though other people may take it a different way, it's how I see it. And so I'm grateful that Tucker Carlson has that perspective, and I'm glad that he shared that, because it is an encouragement. It's an encouragement that other people see things in a similar manner that we do. Even the people who've managed to make it to television, that they really do still have a connection with God. They've just had to probably keep their mouth quiet for way too long. And now they're finally getting the chance to say the things that need to be said. I guess in the end, God wins.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You ready?
Yes, I am.
We're going to go in. I got 2 videos on Lionsgate. Here's the first one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Lionsgate.
24 is the alignment of 888. It's the 8th day of the 8th month, and it's also an 8th year, because 24 is a multiple of 8. It's called the Lionsgate Portal. the alignment of the number 8, which is the symbol for infinite abundance, and also the alignment of the sun in Leo with the star Sirius, Orion's belt, and the Earth. On this day, it is believed that we receive a surge of spiritual energy we can use to transform. On the night of August 8th, at exactly 8:08 p.m., say these 3 affirmations. I am connected to an unlimited source of abundance. I welcome an unlimited source of wealth into my life. I attract wealth and success into my life.
Okay, that's the first one. Do you want to do the second one, or do you want to talk?
Just that last part seemed kind of hokey pokey, but yeah. I know that the signs in the heavens actually mean something.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right.
The Lionsgate portal, August 8th, 8/8. Now it's 2024. So if you add those numbers together, you really got 888. The power of 8. Turn it around this way. Infinity. All things are possible. Here's an exercise that you can do for the 8/8 portal, and you can see your progress when it happens. Get yourself a paper, a journal, a pen, a pencil. Go old school. It doesn't matter, but I want you to go paper and pen, not phone, not computer, unless you have to. I want you to date the top, month, day, and year, 8/8/2024. In fact, put the time. If you know you can't do this on the 8th, do it before, because it starts on the 26th. Just very powerful on 8/8. Now, right, this is what I will achieve and or experience on or before 8/8/2025. Now, like a little kid, I want you to make your list. All the things that you wish for, like a little kid. It's a basic wish list, like students would do in kindergarten. A wish list. Go, 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 go. Do not worry about how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen. None of that. I just want you to be free. Free like a little kid. When you're finished, take the paper, inhale, hold, and exhale. You can sage it, clear it, whatever you'd like to do. You don't have to. Hold it in your hands and place it against your heart and just breathe. No thinking. I don't want you to overthink anything. Hold the paper and then fold it. Fold it inward. Bring the energy in. Set it back on your chest. And I'd like you to put it somewhere safe. That's it. Now make a note in your calendar and your phone to go back and find that list in 1 year from now. And just see what happens. Keep vibing, guys.
Thoughts?
F. Clint asks if we're reading tarot cards after this. No, we're not.
I just thought it was interesting. It's not something I'm going to do, but I have been thinking positive thoughts today.
It is interesting. And I think it's a good exercise to think positive thoughts throughout the day. I also think that it's a good exercise to write down the things that you would like in life. And I think that it is a good idea to go back 1 year later and to see where you were at and to see what was important to you. That's kind of like a diary kind of thing. And there's really nothing wrong with that. Now, the Lionsgate.
I agree with Bethany.
Manifest greatness. Yeah. And let's see. Aaron says, I was thinking of reading the hops at the bottom of my beer.
You know what? I'm a firm believer, because even in the Bible, they talk about meditation and,
Look,
I think what you are thankful about, you bring more, more positivity to you when you are thankful. So that, I think that's all that Lionsgate is about. And that's the only reason I played it.
Well, and I have no problem with it, because I think that that's very much a part of the Bible. I think that everything that was in that series, The Secret, is just extrapolated from the Bible. But what they did is they took out all the references to God, and they called God the universe and Jesus. And I think that there really is the ability to ask for whatever you want, whatever you ask for in prayer and believe you will receive. I mean, it's like it's in the Bible. Right. And I think that this timing, again, for watch the stars for signs and symbols in the sky. And I think that that's very much a part of it as well. I do believe that as the constellations go overhead, that those are indicators of things about times and seasons for everything. Chachi says, ask and you shall receive.
Exactly.
And I think that very much is a part of our experience. God doesn't want us to be miserable. God does want us to feel the fullness of life and all of the bounty that the world has to offer. But the thing is a lot of that doesn't happen because we get stuck in our own egotistical kind of ways. And as we grow out of that sense of self and into that sense of community, about something greater than ourselves, I think that we will see more manifested to us. And this day may be a window. Hey, Steph, I do believe that this is a window in which to put those requests in. And if you think about it, with the holidays and everything as they are, it might fall in line with it. I don't think that the Bible is against it, but I think that keeping the focus on what the source is, I think that that's the important part, and recognizing that what you're asking for, is it good what you're asking for, or is it some selfish pursuit? I mean, if you're asking for, a new Ferrari, then you might not get that unless you have some altruistic use for a Ferrari that nobody else has considered. But
Exactly.
whatever. Chachi says God created the stars and their movements as well as our ability to recognize patterns and tell time.
Exactly. Okay, so
Yes.
since we didn't want to, do Lionsgate and was worried about going to tarot cards, we're going to Kamala.
God.
It has to be about a goal of saying everybody should end up in the same place. And since we didn't start in the same place, some folks might need more. Equitable distribution. Giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. So there's a big difference between equality and equity. Equality suggests often everybody should get the same thing. Well, that often assumes everybody started out in the same place, as opposed to equity, which is everyone should end up in the same place. And if you then understand not everybody started out in the same place, you understand some people need more. So we all end up in the same place, right? We are proud of the fact that equity is one of our guiding principles. Proud of the fact that we understand equality is important, but not everybody starts out on the same base. We see that people in our country are having an experience that is not equal. So when we talk about the work we are doing here together, it is recognizing that and being guided by this principle of what we must do in the spirit and in the interest of equity. To put equity firmly at the center of our economic policy. But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit Black children, Black families, Black homeowners.
Thoughts?
My first thought is I'd rather chew on a ball of aluminum than listen to her anymore.
I know.
It's awful feeling. Awful feeling. Aaron says Kamala speaking literally causes intelligent people brain damage. Thank you. We're all now dumber because of it. I award you no points. May God have mercy on her soul.
You ready?
Yeah, I guess so.
Are you sure? Because you sounded like you didn't. I mean, we know she's a communist.
She is a communist. I mean, yeah, it's hopefully will wake people up, and if they really cared about equity, they would go ahead and forgive everybody's home loan and tell the banks to suck it, and they're not getting any more money. They already got all their money. Well, all of these decades, that they've stolen it from us. And I will say that's I will say that would be equitable. And they need to kick all the bankers out of their multi-billion-dollar homes from their bonuses that they got after they got their the asset relief TARP funds and stuff like that. You know, that sounds equitable to me, but they're not talking about something that's actually going to help the people out. No, they're talking about things that are, you know, sound nice, but absolutely no substance to it. I don't know. Maybe there's some substance to it. I'll go check out her website and see what it says there.
You ready?
Yeah.
I've had it. Hi, I'm Greg Gutfeld, along with Judge Judy Pirro, Jessica Tarloff, Jesse Waters, and Jillian Turner, the Five. J.D. Vance crashing the Harris and Walz campaign tour as they hit up battleground states Michigan and Wisconsin, the first stops on their swing state heist. But Trump's V pick was tailing them like a bloodhound, with their planes literally sharing the tarmac today. So Vance figured he ought to do the media's job, rolling up to Kamala's plane to ask why she's been dodging the press for the past 17 days.
I just wanted to check out my future plane, but I also wanted to go say hello to the vice president and ask her why Kamala Harris why does she refuse to answer questions from the media? And I also thought that the press gaggle following her might get a little lonely.
Harris and Walz are trying to sell Americans on their tampons for boys' vision of America, but somehow you're the weird one.
They are creepy and weird as hell. You see it. You see it. This is not normal. This is not normal behavior. Donald Trump, he sees the world differently than we see it. He has no understanding of service because he's too busy servicing himself.
I will proudly put my record against his any day of the week. Donald Trump has openly vowed if reelected, he will be a dictator on day one. Someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States should never again have a chance to stand behind the seal of the President of the United States.
Lovely. Walz was on fire, just like the Twin Cities in 2020. But if the Dems want to play the weird game, Hillary is getting her freak on by tweeting out and embracing the Tampon Tim meme that right-wingers have been sharing. It's a reference to a bill that Tim Walz signed last year, putting menstrual products in all restrooms in schools. But Hill Dog is trying to own it, saying, quote, how nice of the Trump camp to help publicize Governor Tim Walz's compassionate and common sense policy of providing free menstrual products to students in Minnesota public schools. Let's do this everywhere. Hear, hear, I say, Jesse. Tampons for boys. That's why I'm going to vote. But once again, what you're seeing, Jesse, is the pre-projection that liberals do. They project onto you what they know they will soon be defined as weird.
Yeah.
So they started saying Vance is weird, Vance is weird, Vance is weird. And then you hear about the pushing tampons for boys or making it easier for trans surgeries for kids. Who's the weird one?
Tampon Tim honeymoons in China and shakes his wife's hand. What a weird dude. And remember, like last week, they say J.D. Vance was a bad pick. This guy is a COVID snitch line. Guys, they're playing lacrosse outside without masks on. What a freak. This guy destroyed Minneapolis. He's on the ticket with the lady that destroyed San Francisco. This guy might be... They might have sabotaged this ticket on purpose. Eric Holder's in charge of vetting. Eric Holder's a pretty sharp dude. He didn't notice that this guy lied about not serving in war. He didn't notice that this guy basically told people that he was carrying a gun in a war zone. They have people now who served in his unit calling this guy a coward, saying he abandoned us right when we needed him. He was about to be deployed to Iraq and then was like, guys, you know what? I quit. And then got demoted, then lied about his rank, and then said he went to war. People have lost careers over that type of lie. And this is one of those things that people, if you're a Republican or if you're a Democrat, this cuts through everything. You see a guy like this and you don't trust him. And you can't trust him with money. It was the biggest COVID fraud state in the country. And just let's talk about Tampon Tim for a second. Just think about what you need to do to lose money. Let's say one guy's menstruating. Okay, one male is menstruating in Minnesota. All right. Instead of just having this one male who happens to be menstruating ask one of his girlfriends if he could borrow a tampon from their bathroom. No. He spends hundreds of thousands of dollars stocking boys' bathrooms with tampons. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. What kind of disrespect is that to the taxpayer? Save the money. Don't stock tampons in boys' bathrooms.
You know, Jillian, Jesse surprisingly makes a good point. There has to be a reason why. There has to be a reason why they chose this clown, and it's the law of diminishing competence, right? So it's like always the main character chooses somebody not as competent as they are. For example, Obama chose Biden, and then Biden had to choose Kamala. Now Kamala has to choose Waltz.
Could you say menstruating one more time?
I know. I think I've said that more times than I care to.
I hope no one's playing a drinking
How
game.
toxic is that they put the word men in that?
I have a theory about why the vice president chose Governor Walz as her running mate. I could very easily be wrong. This is my own personal take. But if you think about it, I think it was more about her opportunity to strike out on her own than it was about any electoral strategy. If you're Kamala Harris, you are handed Biden's record to defend. You are handed your senior staff at the White House. You are handed your campaign platform. You are handed your campaign staff all the way up to the top. With 3 months to go, she has had very little say in anything that's going on so far in terms of her own presidential process.
She's not saying anything.
She wanted to go with Walz. I think it was
Like
an
she can
emotional,
say anything.
A sort of heart pick rather than a
Because she's
head
woman?
pick. What?
Is that what you're saying? She's emotional, so she chose this guy?
Yes, and she's menstruating.
I don't like what you're saying, Jillian. Please.
No, but I think this
apologize
was
to
her.
women.
This was her chance to strike out on her own and do what she wanted to do. And I think she likes Waltz. They're friends. She trusts him, and she was like, "I'm doing this. This is my one chance to do something."
Who are the four big Packers?
What happened there?
I hit the wrong button.
Not the wrong button.
Thoughts?
I love Greg Gutfeld. I think he's hilarious. He's been somebody even before I woke up I loved to listen to because of his libertarian kind of thought process, and I've always admired and appreciated Greg Gutfeld. Him and John Stossel too. Actually, I like John Stossel a lot more. I always thought John Stossel was a good guy. But anyways, I see a lot of the comments about Walz and the stolen valor thing. Look, I get it. And there's a very real possibility that he actually violated the stolen valor law. It is what it is. And it's, I think, more to wake people up. And they even pointed it out. It's like, he's a terrible pick. It's not for any kind of electoral strategy or anything like that. This appears to be a, 1 year minimum. I think that this appears to be one of those I think they're throwing away the, thank you, Tracy. I think that this is one of those throwaway elections. I think that they're going to hunker down the ones that they're trying to save if they can, and then they're going to cast away a lot of the things, the people, not the things. Well, kind of could be, but whatever. Anyways, cast away a lot of the people that are easily to sacrifice for their own continuation. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that,
All right.
here we go.
Oh, good. Media was giving their PSYOP talking points on Harris's VP pick, Tim Walz.
Heels up, Harris.
Kamala Harris picks Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as running mate.
What does Walz bring to this?
He's cuddly. And cuddly.
Cuddly. Cuddly?
I think she went for maybe a little more of a cuddly choice.
It tells more about like the texture of the man. He seems to almost have a twinkle in his eye. Tim Walz is the opposite of weird.
Tim Walz beats America.
He sounds like, a football coach.
He's a hunter that you could visit with at the hardware store. In a dictionary, if you had weird and anti-weird, you'd have Tim Walz's picture there. I bet knows how to make a good hot dish casserole.
He's very down to earth.
It's his authenticity.
Authentic communicator.
The word joy came up a lot.
He's joyful.
He seems happy.
A happy-go-lucky warrior.
And he's happy and a happy warrior. The joyful warrior.
He is one happy warrior.
A happy warrior.
The happy warrior.
Nice guy.
Good guy.
A very nice person.
Reliable.
Definitely affable.
He is an extremely affable individual.
Very affable, plain-speaking way, a folksy vibe. This folksy idea.
Terrific vibe.
Vibes election.
Kind of a folksy guy.
The idea that Tim Walz is some lefty is just not true.
I don't think either of them are Bernie Sanders progressive?
A rather safe pick. I think a safe pick.
The safe choice. This is a do no harm pick. Do no harm.
He's just more of a vanilla pick.
It's a younger version of Joe Biden.
We got Brett Summer. We've got coconut tree memes.
There's joy in the Democratic Party right now.
Those outside of Pittsburgh loves Tim Walz. So talk about Walz.
They don't even know his name.
Thoughts?
So clearly, Project Mockingbird talking points. These are what you're going to say because what was the first thing that they said?
Cuddly.
Cuddly. He doesn't
Here's
look
my
cuddly.
response.
Yeah, I get it. So we have cuddly, happy, or joyful warrior, nice, affable, folksy vibe, do no harm. Okay, so let's just go with folksy vibe, right? Who says that when's the last time anybody here has ever said folksy vibe? Oh, that person has a folksy vibe.
I don't know.
It sounds kind of, I don't know, like 1930s Germany kind of talk, but I mean, it's like, that's not something people say. That's not something you've heard in the movies recently. It's not something you hear on TV. It's just not something you normally hear. And then all of a sudden, all of these people have the exact same 2 words to say about this guy. How does that not speak of some kind of a coordinated effort to send out a specific message? And it's plain and obvious to those of us who are paying attention even just a little bit. But how can people not think that folksy vibe is a weird thing for everybody to say about it? Steph says, did y'all see today that Walz stopped the rally for a person at the rally, just like Trump did in New Jersey? I think it was not too long back, and asked for a doctor if there was a doctor in the house. I did not see that. Not a surprise. But we also know that if they see anything that's good, they have a tendency to copy it. And when you copy things, it means that you have no original thoughts whatsoever, and that you can only steal things that other people have. I find that that's not very useful. They're not being authentic. They're not being anything that would be endearing to the American people, because they are trying to sell something that they know that just isn't going to work with a folksy vibe. And it's dumb.
Here.
Okay.
Go ahead and read that.
Okay. Tim Walz lies versus Donald Trump truths. Harris Walz campaign gaslights.
And when somebody tells you are, they believe him. He said he'd ban abortion across this country, and he'll do it, whether or not Congress is there or not.
We have abortion where everybody wanted it from a legal standpoint. The states will determine by vote or legislation or perhaps both. And whatever they decide must be the law of the land. In this case, the law of the state.
That includes IVF. And this gets personal for me and my family.
Easier for mothers and families to have babies, not harder. That includes supporting the availability of fertility treatments like IVF in every state in America.
He'll gut Social Security and Medicare.
But do not cut the benefits our seniors worked for and paid for their entire lives. Save Social Security. Don't destroy it. The Democrats are looking to destroy Social Security. We're not going to let them do it. Thank you very much.
Thoughts?
Did you see what Bethany put? Hoofs up, Harris. Like Pan. Anyway, I think that that's a great video, and I just asked Kay to put that in the Telegram because that's a great message to share. It shows side by side what they're saying about Trump and then what Trump is actually saying. And I think that that's a very big distinction, because they're not trying to present anything that is going to make people like them. They're just presenting information to make you dislike somebody else. That isn't a platform to run on. I'm not sure what their platform is to run on, but I should probably go check out their website. Maybe they'll tell me what they're actually running on, other than the fact that they can only lie about everything that President Trump says.
Exactly.
Oh, wait, I did look, didn't I? I did look before, right? Yeah, that's right. There's
I'll
nothing
send
on
it
there
to
other
you,
than how to
Tracy.
donate. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get that video out so that way y'all can y'all can use that, because that's something that shows a great side-by-side contrast, and I think that that's what people need. Whether or not they're actually going to pay attention is another story altogether. But you can although I was going to say you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But Aaron let us know otherwise
Yeah,
about a week or so ago.
You ready?
They'll just keep on drinking.
Here's another one.
All right.
In her first decision as the presidential nominee for the Democrat Party, that no one voted for, by the way, this was the guy she chose to be by her side. The day after the single largest trading loss on the stock market for a day, this is the guy she chooses?
Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. Just do the damn work.
Socialism. You have got to be kidding me. Kamala Harris, due to the seemingly anti-Semitic Democrat base, she passed over what I think was a more viable national candidate in Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, in her first major decision. She chose this guy, the guy who was down on his knees at the George Floyd riots, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, supporting the drug addict criminal resisting arrest, writing "Justice Now" in his own special chalk in a face mask, while doing nothing for the actual law-abiding citizens that had their businesses burned down by these riots in his state. Tim Walz, the Minnesota governor, refused to activate the National Guard to quell these riots, and this guy wants to represent the entire country? No, thank you. This is Minneapolis before the riots, as you can see right there. And this is after the riots. Before the riots, after. I mean, like, there are dozens of these buildings, and this is all over the place. They haven't even been repaired years later. He bent the knee to the mob in his home state. Ironically, he's now running with the same lady that then bailed out those criminals that destroyed those same buildings in that community. You cannot make this stuff up. This far-left dynamic duo will do the exact same thing to America if they get a chance. They have no respect for American culture. They have no respect for our history and our traditions either. For God's sake, the guy made a video replacing the Minnesota state flag that has been a staple of their history for well over 100 years with one that more closely resembles their fastest growing population, as you can see there. Oh, the Somali flag, where Ilham Omar came from, which happens to be the #1 terrorist recruiting district in America. Kamala Harris might as well have just picked Ilhan to be her running mate. I mean, Walz might be some lukewarm white guy from the Midwest as he perceives himself, but he's as far left as you get. Now, I know that the moderate PR machine is pitching him as like, oh, he's a hunter and a gun owner and a military veteran, favored governor of a battleground state. First off, Minnesota is not a battleground state. They have not voted for a Republican presidential candidate since 1972. In fact, that was the single state that voted for their own Walter Mondale against Ronald Reagan while he won the other 49 states. So don't tell me Kamala Harris picked Walz because she wanted to win a battleground state. Second, Walz may own a gun or two, but he's not a friend to gun owners, folks. Do not believe this spin. He was when he was a congressman for a rural district there, but when he ran for governor, he just happened to or he evolved, sorry. And then he turned around and attacked the NRA. He supported massive gun control. He instituted measures like red flag laws since becoming governor. Third, the fake news is waving this veteran flag pretty hard right now. And as a guy who became a SEAL because there was a war, let me air my personal frustrations with him as branding himself some honorable veteran. In a letter advertised to the Western Central Tribune, 2 soldiers that served with Walz put their name to an op-ed asserting that Tim Walz, as a senior enlisted, resigned from his military position before his enlistment was up, by the way, because he found out his unit was being deployed to Iraq. That is cowardly. Then, when he was called out on it, he said, oh, I had to resign from the military in order to run for Congress. BS. Since 1800, there have been over 100 members of Congress that have also been simultaneously part of the military reserves and Congress. That dog don't hunt. That make Tim Walz a liar. And there is a stark difference between J.D. Vance, who you're going to hear from in just a minute, who joined because of the war and actually went to Iraq in 2005. Do not be fooled by the media trying to make out who Tim Walz is. This guy, he signed as governor transgender care for youth bill, okay? He signed free college tuition bill for illegals, signed up an abortion up to the day of birth. He repealed a state program that supported pregnant women as well. He established a DEI council, not to mention he forced schools to provide tampons for 10-year-old boys. He gave driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. And while crime was dropping nationwide, Waltz somehow figured out a way to have it go up in his state. He had extended mandatory business shutdowns during COVID. He also shoved the elderly into COVID-positive nursing homes like Andrew Cuomo did in New York. Waltz figured out a way also to squander a $17.6 billion surplus in the state, leading to him being forced to raise taxes on his people. Oh, by the way, he did get a DUI for going 96 and a 55. And when he was asked about mass migration and Donald Trump's wall, Waltz said he wanted to invest in a ladder company.
And I think seeing a plan that's out there, talking about it with folks, knowing that he's not going to do anything. He talks about this wall. I always say, let me know how high it is. If it's 25 feet, then I'll invest in the 30-foot ladder factory. That's not how you stop this.
I am not surprised that Kamala Harris would pick this guy. He is perfect for the Democrat base. This is not a moderate VP nominee. This is the most radical left-wing ticket this country has ever seen. Do not let Anderson Cooper, CNN, or The View define who this guy is. Do your own homework on this, folks. Because as I always say, when they tell you who they are, listen to them. Because Tim Waltz has spent almost 20 years telling us exactly who he really is. This is unbelievable that we are sitting here faced with a guy who is trying to be made out to be a moderate. He's trying to make himself out to be a moderate. He's trying to become the offset Mike Pence of the Democrat Party.
Thoughts?
So more of a lot of the same about Tim Waltz. He's just there to entertain at this point in time. I can't see that he would actually be a serious candidate because absolutely everything about that dude sucks. Like there's nothing that's folksy. There's nothing about him that gives me a folksy vibe that I want anything to do with. And I'm sure that goes for a lot of other people as well. Okay, a couple things going on. Yeah, he's not anything that's an encouraging candidate for too many people. But also this is on Newsmax. And let's keep in mind that Newsmax is one of those organizations that bent the knee, so to speak, as they were talking about he did in downtown Minneapolis, to write in chalk on the ground as if that's going to show some symbol of solidarity or something. It's not like he was spray painting the Berlin Wall to free people from East Germany. He went down there for a photo op. He's just a slimy politician through and through. I can't see anything other than this dude's designed to wake people up. I don't know. Yeah, cuddly. Yeah, cuddly. They called him cuddly.
But I have Kim Clement, which is much better than him.
Yeah, we need to wash our brains out with some Kim Clement.
You ready?
Yeah, please.
Miracle shall happen in the banking
Here we go.
and the stock exchange.
Here we go.
Look to the months of August, September, and October.
Okay, let's stop there. Look to the months of August, September, and October and watch the oil. The oil. I believe he is foretelling way in advance about something we're stepping into right now. And then he says, watch the oil. Now, this is a strong word God's given me, and people sent this to me because of the things we've been prophesying. So I find this fascinating. The other word that Kim says here, that I'm playing a game, it's like a yo-yo. They're going to think one thing and there's another. I have seen this also, but I believe we're going to get to this point of not needing the Middle East by great conflict, by great effort, by great cost. I believe that we've got to pray. I'm going to begin to ask many of you, anyone that's willing, to begin joining us in prayer and fasting up to the election.
Thoughts?
Okay, so watch the oil. And I'm glad that all these Kim Clement things are coming out. I don't know exactly what that gentleman was prophesying, but I know that Kim Clement was talking about something that seems very much like this season that we're in right now. And so we had this super hot summer, which is one of the things Kim Clement talked about. And that things are going to be very different here very soon, would be my guess, and that the fall will happen in the fall. Watch the oil. What would cause what would cause a fall? Well, a significant change in the price of oil could be a very significant problem. We could go through a time where there's no oil here, and that they have to open up all the things that Biden and and Kamala, since she was vice president, we need to give her credit where credit's due. They shut down the Keystone Pipeline. Good job for you. I hope that doesn't bite us in the ass, but I got a feeling that that could be a problem. Yeah, open that pipeline and a lot of the other things that they've been shutting down. But I believe that the oil is going to tie directly into our energy independence. I think that there's going to be some problems. Hopefully that, like, if there are blackouts and brownouts around the country, hopefully the weather will be fair and that we don't lose a whole bunch of people like we would have during this summer. God forbid the electricity would have gone out, because that would have probably hurt way too many people. And always during the winter, is it a real problem? But I think that, again, this is a wake-up call, and it will be there to help a lot of people see things with real eyes that realize real lies.
There you go.
It's how it happens. We got to go through it.
So
Keep your gas tanks full.
So Dax has a new song out
Okay.
about Donald Trump.
All right.
See the name?
I'm voting for Donald Trump.
There you go.
And I can't slow down. It's criminal activity. Push capitalism. Jack prices of gas. Tax us to the max. Tell us Joe Biden was just sharp as attacked, and have Kamala follow the aftermath and try to convince and garner the votes of blacks. Political track will place this republic. Cannot be a republic if the Democrats drag Biden's ass through a campaign. Avoid the primary just so they can place a plant, replace a vegetable, and make it dance. Sprinkle it with feminism and rainbow flags. I'm not even into political themes. I just had a dream that maybe we're not a democracy, but rather a bougie oligarchy. And side note, I hate the movie Barbie. This family's that dude. Where is Steve Harvey? I'm starting to smell civil war. I can taste the propaganda being made. It's practically dripping through my pores. I don't even want to rap no.
These independent rappers, man, they're something else.
They're, you know what? They're giving us the information, and it's another voice for people.
Yeah, it is.
It's another way. Again, we were talking about music and repeating the lyrics and feeling the emotion. Think about the emotion that he's conveying in there. And as you're singing along with him, if you are, then you recognize that that's what you're putting out there in the universe. But the message is more in alignment with the truth. And I think that that's important. And it's important that people are able to have an outlet that talks about the truth as opposed to all the lies. Thank God for the independent artists that are out there right now. And it's only encouraging more and more independent artists to come out and stake a claim in the giant gap that's created because people don't care about the mainstream music anymore the way they used to. It's just not as important as it was. So yeah, it's always good to hear stuff like that.
Yeah. So the bishop's going to tell us how to turn your prayers into dreams.
Okay.
Ready?
Or dreams into prayers into dreams.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
How can you turn your sleep into a prayer? Obviously, when I'm asleep, I can't pray, but I can. How? Before you go to sleep, say, Lord, I want you to be with me in my sleep, to protect me from every evil visions, from every evil nightmares. I'm asking you to be with me. Why? Because if I open my eyes and I see the SUN of this world, I'll thank you for a new day, for a new life. But if I open my eyes and I see the SON of the next world, then I thank you. Since you were with me in my sleep, I am now at peace. Whichever world I open my eyes to, I don't care. Christ is my protector during my sleep. That sleep became a prayer.
Thoughts?
Okay. I like that a lot. Of course, then again, I love so many things that the bishop says. It was a long prayer. There's no way I was going to be able to remember all that. But the gist of it being, Lord, I want you to be with me in my sleep. And I think that that's one of the best prayers right there, because that's when we are open to the veil is thinnest while we're sleeping, and we're open to all of those things at that point in time when we are in an unconscious state. And so I do believe that it's important to say a prayer like that, because it gives us that protection, that guard. And if it's one of the last things you're sleeping or that you're thinking about or praying about before you go to sleep, well, then it's not a bad thing, is it?
Not at all. Not at all.
Keeping his guidance in our heart and protection.
Absolutely. So I have a video from Christian.
Oh, okay. Woot woot. Harris and Tampon Tim doing big things for the middle class.
Thoughts?
I'm grateful that all of those videos about the fall of Minneapolis, the actual fall that happened. But keep in mind that movie's a good movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. The fall of Minneapolis. But I think that these are the things that people need to be reminded about Walz and what happened under his watch as governor. And then to think that he bailed out of the National Guard because he didn't feel like deploying. All of the things about them. There's absolutely nothing about this guy that says leadership whatsoever. Maybe if he had changed and did things differently, but he's still doing things exactly the way that they think that it needs to be done. So that way they can bring about the downfall of this country, when in all actuality, they are the problem. And they don't like the fact that people are starting to see that they are the problem and not the everyday people of this country. Everybody else isn't the problem. It's just those few people who are encouraging and promoting this kind of piss poor behavior that only destroys the thing that is for the rest of us. And I see that, there were some big businesses that had their windows broken, and I'm sure that they didn't have a problem with their insurance claim and they got their money right away, while everybody else, the small businesses, there's a friend that I met out here, really good guy. His family, he's from Minneapolis. His family was in Minneapolis. As a matter of fact, they had a jewelry store downtown, and one of the family members was sleeping in the upstairs part of the building, and they kicked the door down, and they had to literally jump out of the second floor of the back of the building while people were breaking into the front of the building to steal all the jewelry and set the building on fire. And that's the kinds of things. Yeah, exactly, Glenn. But he gave tampons to little boys. Okay, not anyway. Yeah, we all are upset about that one. But the thing is he's been destroying people's lives for a very long time now. They all have collaborated to destroy people's lives for a very long time. This is why it's important for us to go vote. This is exactly why it's so important for us to be willing to be talked to negatively by a bunch of people who still think that these buffoons actually have a clue on how to run a country in a manner that's going to be good for anybody but themselves. And that includes cutting off the people that have been their support this whole time.
Exactly. So,
yeah,
act blue.
No, can't tell me what to do, and I'm not going to. Oh, you're talking about the organization.
Yes.
Okay, those clowns.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Vice President Harris raised a whopping $310 million last month after inheriting the mantle of presidential candidate from a decrepit President Biden, outpacing even President Trump's massive fundraising numbers. Add to this the pitter-patter of Democratic Party hearts over her radical vice presidential pick out of Minnesota. more dollars to the Harris campaign are flowing in. But why are people questioning the legitimacy of these funds? So much so that it is now under congressional investigation. The Democratic fundraising site, ActBlue, is under investigation by a House committee after widespread allegations of fraudulent donations and lax rules for donor verifications. So what's going on? Joining us to unravel some of this is Georgia Congressman and former U.S. Marine Dr. Rich McCormick. Congressman, welcome to the program.
It's good to be with you today. Thanks.
What is happening here? I understand an investigation is underway. Of course, critics on the left will say this is just political, but even when you take your political hat off, there are some objectively lax issues that trail ActBlue.
Yeah, they love to use things that are very difficult to prove as fraud. It's just like when they don't want any ID for voting. Of course, you have no proof that we have any illegitimate voting. Well, that's because you won't allow it. You won't allow us to track who's voting, who's mailing in ballots, how they came to be, and now, of course, how you're donating. When you have several small dollar donations where you don't have to put a lot of extensive information, but it comes from the same basically generic credit card, something you could buy in a store, so it can't be traced. Yeah, you're right. We're not going to have any evidence that you cheated again. And this is what the problem is. They continue to be very creative and ingenuitive in finding ways to donate in ways that are illegal. And we've seen it in the past. We've seen when Hillary Clinton got donations from China through basically money laundering. She had to give some money back. They keep on finding new ways of cheating, and that's really concerning. And they justify their moral equivalency because they think we are the bad guys. So they can do anything they want to cheat because we are evil, they are good, and all things are on the table.
Isn't that the story of history? I mean, my goodness, every time we discover a new way for people to launder money or funnel money in fraudulent ways, and we create rules against them, they just find ways around it.
Yeah, and same way with the way they use government money, basically to enlist Democrats and register them to vote, knowing that they're going after demographics that will vote almost entirely for the Democratic Party. They're using taxpayer money. That should never happen, but of course they're doing that. So we have a lot of things to clean up. The Democrats get very creative when it comes to making the system biased, to creating a dependency on government, to do things that will basically trap people in poverty forever. It basically, they want to be king of the ashes, and they don't care how they do it.
From a technical standpoint, what does this investigation actually look like? How do you actually investigate this in a way that let's say, gives us transparent answers, for lack of a better way to put this? How do we investigate so that we have a transparent response from folks like ActBlue?
Well, first of all, we need to make sure we can track the information. If you're putting in credit card information, which is really the only way to do it, if you're a cash donation, it has to be a very small value, still has to be associated with somebody's name. And of course, we have limits to how many people can vote, donate and how much. There's one lady, I think, that had 2,000 donations. She didn't know about any of them. So obviously her name was being used in vain, literally. But if you have a donation, you have to attribute it to somebody. A lot of people want to do things anonymously, keep it under $100. But if we make sure that people can't just anonymously give through credit cards over and over and over again, the credit card has no accountability because it's either a generic or something bought through with cash or somebody else's card. That's just another way to cheat. We need to make sure we have accountability. This is just adapting to the modern era of data and understanding that people will find new ways to cheat, and we need to keep them accountable.
I would hope that with more publicity on this, that the bad actors are maybe deterred from continuing to do this, but I'm afraid the cynic in me is going to be very skeptical that they'll stop.
Thoughts?
So, ActBlue, they're getting caught a little bit more and more each day. And I think that this is important because we just played that video where they used that old lady's and her deceased husband's name
over and over
for alleged donations that they never gave. Obviously, the deceased person couldn't.
Yeah.
But then again, Democrats have never had a problem using deceased people to do their bidding. I believe that this is going to be one of those things where this will open up floodgates. Once Act Blue is taken down, tons and tons of information will be dumped in the American people's lap about how much fraud has been out there. Right now, they have to go through the entire process. They have to do the exposure. They have to win in the court of public opinion before they bring it to the court, which is exactly how the left has done everything, where they set the narrative in the court of public opinion, then they go ahead and try things. And I think that the exact same thing is going to happen to them.
Bye,
But
Chels.
bye, Chels. See you later. Have a wonderful night yourself. Anyway, so once all of this information comes out about Act Blue, then they get tried. The information will come out, and it will certainly point fingers at the people that they were collaborating with. Because again, a lot of these people aren't going to have the intestinal fortitude to continue to lie and take the entire fall for everybody that they've been colluding with this whole time. At some point in time, these people are going to start to crack. Just like P. Diddy. I think that, you know, a lot of those people started to crack around him. They were able to do the raid. Then it's going to move on over to New York side of things, where a lot of people are expecting Jay-Z and what's her name? All the single ladies lady. Yeah, that lady. And so all of this is going to come together at some point in time, and it's just absolutely going to destroy the very fabric of the lie that they've been using to hold all of this together. And it's just going to collapse. And it's going to be because there are so many things. That flood of information is going to overwhelm them, and they're not going to be able to keep up with all of their lies, let alone be able to lie their way out of all of this. It's a step-by-step phased approach, and this is all setting the foundation for what's going to be happening.
Yep. You ready?
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and read that?
Kumala campaign and Secret Service are pushing streamer Kai Cenat, whatever, okay, to team up, and he said, nah.
Be in a penthouse in New York. Then on top of that, I got the fucking Secret Service calling me 5 times, nigga! I don't know goddamn shit about politics, my nigga. I don't know nothing. Hey, I'm gonna keep it a stack. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I don't give a fuck. Okay? Listen, I had a bad bitch that I've been trying to get on for like the last 3 years, the last 2 years that I haven't spoke to in like a year. I haven't spoke to this girl in so goddamn long, who gonna have the audacity to text me, we need you a part of the campaign. At first I was thinking she was talking about like a game, a video game, like a Modern Warfare game, or some shit. Or if not that, a clothing brand. I'm like, what campaign? Shorty gonna say, we're not gonna get into details. Say it right now. If there's some way, somehow, something was to go into where I do the stream of politics, I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm going to sit on my stream and say, why did you guys call me? Like, you know, I don't know. I've never did anything with politics. And these blogs are like trying to say, yo, you gotta do the shit, God. And it's all the top blogs. But I'm like, bro, since when did niggas
Boy, they're going after everybody trying to get
Anybody? I don't even know who that is.
I
But
don't
then again,
either.
I don't follow modern music very much.
He's just a streamer.
He's just a streamer.
gamer.
He's just a gamer. Is that really what it is? So yeah, but then again, they've been using video games for propaganda forever and a day. That's why I don't play Battlefield anymore.
I know.
I loved me some Battlefield, but the last one I did was Battlefield 1. It was ridiculous, and the rewrite of history that they did. I miss playing Battlefield sometimes, but at the same time, it's just not worth it because I know it's an assault on, who, each and every person that's watching that as they try to create a narrative. And obviously that's how they're going to try to get kids to continue to be asleep. Whatever. It's crazy. He was streaming out of the back of a U-Haul. I did see that he was streaming out of the back of a U-Haul. Okay, he's a gamer. I mean, that's pretty cool. It's cool that, he's being noticed, and it's really cool that he told him to go pack sand. And he sees that they use honey pots. It's no different than using a honey pot, because he said that these are girls that he was trying to talk to for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And wouldn't talk to them. And then, for at least a year, and then all of a sudden they come out of the woodwork and they're like, hey, baby. And they, try to butter him up. You need to be a part of this. Compromised. And this guy refused to be compromised. And I think that's great too. And realize that it's really, that's how easy it happens.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You got me with Trump, Nick. Well, do you like Trump? I love Trump. Oh, I've been loving Trump ever since I was a bitty boy from the 80s. Black people have always loved Trump.
So, why is everyone on Kamala Harris's meat? Like, why do people like her? She's a fraud.
Well, only black women like her. Only single black mothers like her. But black women who got black husbands don't like Kamala. You ain't seen no black woman with a black husband come out and supported Kamala Harris. Only single black mothers, they got multiple baby daddies by different men, like Kamala Harris and support her.
That's true. But what about why did Megan Thee Stallion go twerk on stage with her?
Man, hoes flock together. Kamala Harris was a hoe. Megan Thee Stallion is a hoe. Birds of a feather flock together. You know how that go. Hoes run with hoes.
That's true. Damn.
And you saw first thing she did on stage, started doing, shaking her backside, doing what hoes do. She didn't talk. She went to shaking her ass like a hoe.
Yeah, she could have said a little message. She had nothing to say. She just started shaking ass. What was that? That's crazy. It's insane. It's ridiculous.
Man, that was probably one of the most shameful things that black people had to sit up and watch coming from a presidential election. That's never happened to black people before in America.
Thoughts?
Just appealing to people's baser instincts. And I think that that's one of the things that makes it such a hollow grab for attention. It's no different than saying that the Kool-Aid, we're going to have Kool-Aid coming out of the fountains at school for the class president. It's something similar. They're not selling any substance. They're just selling the sizzle, not the steak. But then again, that's what made Sizzler so popular, because they certainly weren't selling amazing steaks, but they certainly did know how to sell the sizzle. And that's something that I think that we're all awakening to. And I think that that's something that the people on the left are finally awakening to.
Hey, sweetie. I hope your
Hey,
dad's
Mega
doing good.
Yeah, I hope everything's going good. Thanks for
guys
joining.
You
Yeah.
ready?
Yep.
Hi, folks. I'm going to make a prediction to you right now. Donald Trump is not going to decide the 2024 presidential campaign, and neither is Kamala Harris. The decision is going to be made by the national news media unless the national news media are stopped. In 2020, the same news media made the decision they were going to prevent Donald Trump from being president, and they succeeded. The national survey that we took after the campaign proved that point. We tested a whole series of questions asking Biden's voters in the key battleground states if they knew certain truths. And then if they didn't know, we asked them, would you have voted for Joe Biden had you known? And time and again, they said they would not have. We asked, did you know that Kamala Harris was the most left-wing senator in America? Did you know America had become energy independent? Did you know that Donald Trump had been recommended for several Nobel Peace Prizes? The big one was the one everybody knows now, the Hunter Biden story. We asked Biden's voters, had they known about, did they know about Hunter Biden? And 44.9% of Biden's voters had never heard of Hunter Biden. because the media had censored the story. We asked them, had you known about the story, would you have voted for them? 9.4% of Biden's voters would not have voted for Joe Biden had they simply known the existence of that laptop, meaning Donald Trump would have won one of the biggest landslides in the history of the United States in 2020. Okay, so are the media doing it again? I'm going to suggest to you folks that they are. With the addition of Governor Tim Walz, we now have unquestionably the most radical ticket in the history of the Republic that has presented itself to the American people for a vote in November. There's no question about that. And I can prove that in a second. But the question is America prepared, and is America wanting the most radical ticket in the history of America? And if America wants that, America should have the ability to vote for that. And that's democracy, whether I like it or you like it or not. But here's the reality. The Democrats know that America does not want the most radical left-wing ticket in American history, and neither do the national news media. So the solution is to present Kamala Harris as a centrist and to present Tim Walz as a centrist to the American people. So I'm going to first ask you to tell me what you think of Tim Walz. I'm going to give you some of the positions he's taken, and you ask yourself just how moderate this man might be. Look at his economic policy. When he became governor, he immediately proposed a 70% tax hike on gasoline in Minnesota that would make it the fourth most expensive gas state, highest taxed gas state in America. When he was in Congress, he supported Biden's massive Build Back Better initiative that cost the American people $2.2 trillion. He supported the American Rescue Plan that cost the American people $1.9 trillion. And he supported the Inflation Reduction Act, which, by the way, had nothing to do with reducing inflation, but instead was just pushing another Green New Deal. And that cost the American people $800 billion. That would make this guy one of the highest spenders in the United States, which tells you something. Immigration. What's his position there? He supports making Minnesota a sanctuary state. He also signed into law a bill that would make illegals eligible for driver's licenses, in-state college tuition, and free healthcare. You don't get more left-wing than that. Let's try public safety. He was governor during the George Floyd riots. It took him days before he decided to send in the National Guard. His daughter openly supported the riots on social media and even leaked law enforcement movements to the protesters. And what's one of the ramifications of that? By also supporting defunding the police, which Walz did, murders are up now 73% in the state of Minnesota. Second Amendment. Walz proposed a ban on assault weapons. Let's try climate change. He is in favor of making Minnesota 100% renewable electricity by 2040, also supporting California's radical emission standards. You don't get more left-wing than that. Let's try another one. Let's try, how does he feel about religion? During the COVID lockdowns, Walz shut down churches across the state. He opened the Mall in the America and casinos before he allowed churches to reopen. And then let's try a couple more. Abortion. He doesn't get more extremist than this. In 2023, he signed a law that removed any limitations for abortions in Minnesota. In other words, abortion for anyone at any time for any reason. He also supported in 2023 a bill that legalized infanticide by taking away protections for babies who were born after a botched abortion. You cannot get more extremist on abortion than that, folks. Finally, gender wars. Tim Walz turned Minnesota into, just like he did with illegal immigration, he turned it into a transgender sanctuary state. Now, what does that mean? That means that, number one, anybody who goes to the state of Minnesota to get a transgender surgery, any child that goes there will not be returned to the parents outside of Minnesota. Secondly, and this one's even more, to me, ghastly, the state in Minnesota is allowed to take away a child from parents who disapprove of gender affirming. I love that. It's called physical mutilation. When a parent does not want to allow their 10-year-old child to mutilate his or her body, the state has a right to take that child away from the parents. That's Tim Walz's position. Now, I was
Thoughts?
There was a lot left there, but I mean, it was a long list, and that's extremely aggravating. Obviously,
It's just we hadn't heard all of it. And
Oh,
when
yeah.
I was watching it, I was like, everyone needs to hear point by point what this dude is about.
oh, it was an amazing list of so
put
many
it
of
in
the
the
things.
Telegram
Yeah, put it in the Telegram, please, because that's a lot of really good information about who this person is at the core and what his intentions are for the rest of the nation. And we'll go with the birds of a feather flock together kind of thing. And yeah. I'm quite confident that that's where Kamala lies in all of this, in terms of what her real policies are that she intends on instituting here in this nation. Probably, I'm going to say, as the proxy through Obama, or Obama's going to use both of them as a proxy for what he really intends on trying to do here to this nation. But the good thing is that we're waking up to it. And he asked a very good question in the beginning. You know, are the media doing it again? I don't think the media ever stopped. But the good thing is that the legacy media is going away. It's dying a miserable, slow death. There was just an article today that CNN had a huge loss in what their valuation of CNN is, since they were the ones who bought it. And I think that that's yet another indicator about, yes, they're still continuing on. They never quit. They're still pushing a false narrative. And it's backfiring on all of them. Maga Ange says, that's so sad, makes my heart hurt. And it should make our hearts hurt, because as far as I'm concerned, it was, can we say the MUR word here? No. Okay. So that's what they're doing to children, is the MUR. And that's, it's sick. But then again, these people are sick. Aaron says, at Santino, did they already say in California that the schools don't have to ask or tell the parents about gender affirming care vileness? I think so. I think Cali is another one of those states where it's basically, we can take your kids and do medical experimentations, mutilation experimentations on your children, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's where the states need to really start losing their power. They don't have that kind of power. That's not given to them in the Constitution or in the Constitution of each and every state. They don't have that right, but yet for some reason they seem to have given it to themselves. It's almost like there's a reckoning coming. Anyways, Maga Ange says he's obviously a Satanist. I can't think of any other thing. But it sounds like he cares more about child sacrifice to me. So I'm going to go with not so much Satan, so much as Moloch. But what do I know?
Read Aaron's.
Let's see. Aaron says, I know Spain legalized, I don't think I can say that word, the beast, with the animals last year. If the animal is consenting, what? WTF? How does an animal consent? That's a good question, Aaron. Maybe they give Google AIs.
I don't know. Wow.
That's,
okay, we're gonna move on to some
please. Yeah.
Yeshua information.
Yeah, we need that.
Go.
All right.
God's timing and your timing are different.
And anything significant God is going to do in your life is going to take longer than you want, but it's going to be better than you could ever imagine. So the decision we have to make when things don't happen the way we want them to happen and when we want them to happen, we say, God, I choose to trust your timing because his timing is always perfect.
And I will say one of the things that really drove that home was watching The Chosen. And when the actor who plays Yeshua kept saying soon, soon to his mom, to John the Baptist, soon. And I just finally looked at Santino and I was like, okay, soon is relative.
Mm-hmm. Very relative.
Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts, Santino?
Well, I agree with Bill there, but it's on the previous conversation. But timing, we don't know the timing. And that's why being in the present is so important, because we don't know about that timing. And the only way we're going to be able to grow to meet the gifts that he plans on giving us is to worry about what's in front of us right here, right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's one of the things that also gives a spark back to life is to not worry about the things that you want and not worry about the things that happened, but to stay right here, right now. And that is the perfect way to be in alignment with everything that he has set for you in your life, because he's already given you this moment right here, right now. That moment that you're in here in the future is going to be exactly the right moment for everything to happen the way it's supposed to. And it may not be fun and it may be the best thing ever, but we need to feel it all. And we need to be in that moment and truly be happy and appreciate these kinds of things that happen to us, because in the end, it all makes us feel alive. And we know that the things that we don't like, we'd like to change. And so we can focus on that, about how to make things better in that present moment. And when we're trying to make things better for the world around us, it does make the world that's within us that much better. And by making that world that's within us helps project to the rest of the world the beauty in the world that we would like to see. So, let your little light shine.
There you go. You ready?
Yeah.
Here's some stuff about that stolen valor stuff.
Okay.
My name is Dave Phil. This is Travis Quinlan. We're both constituents and Iraq war vets. We're hoping to talk to someone about the photograph I have of Comics for the Walls.
Okay.
Not sure if you have ever seen this picture before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, in it, it depicts 2004 he didn't Afghanistan veteran.
Right.
Congressman Walls is not an Afghanistan war veteran, is he?
He served in Italy as part of Operation Enduring Freedom.
Okay, but he didn't serve in Afghanistan, did he?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Hi, Rick. I'm Dave Phil. How you doing? Nice to meet you. There's a young lady in the other office that was helping us, but if you can, you guys want to come in and have a seat? Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a seat. I am Dave Phil. This is Travis Quinlan. We're both constituents, and we're both Iraq war vets. We served together with the Minnesota National Guard. So we're here on a veteran-related issue. I don't know if you are familiar with this picture at all. This was taken in 2004 here in Mankato, and it's actually been posted on the internet for quite some time. Nobody quite realized what it is, but in this picture, Congressman Walls here is holding a sign that says "Enduring Freedom Veterans for Care." So tell me what your understanding of this military background is.
Yeah, I understand that he was called up in support of it. Obviously, in support of that operation. That's how I've always understood it. And so
I had no problem on my phone earlier hearing that. I'm just gonna throw it.
It's difficult. Well, no, I'm able to hear it now. It's kind of grainy, but I think that the information is coming. They're talking about the fact that he is waffling on support of enduring freedom.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
So the time that he, when he got called up, I guess I've always referred to it as, he was called up and served in support of Operation Enduring Freedom.
Okay. So is there any question in your mind what Enduring Freedom is?
No.
Okay. So I guess most people, yourself included, would associated enduring freedom with Afghanistan.
Right, but
Okay.
I mean, I think it, as I also understand that it encompasses a great deal in there.
Well, Operation Enduring Freedom is limited to Afghanistan and the airspace directly above. There's other units that are called up in support of, and I'm sure that's probably what his military orders said.
Right.
My concern, other than this picture, is that the congressman's website, his official biography, says simply that he was mobilized with his battalion in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, without any other details. Don't you think it's reasonable? People might assume that means he served in Afghanistan.
Perhaps, I guess.
Okay, so it's been 5 years now, or I guess almost 5 years, that the congressman's official biography has said he served in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. Isn't it reasonable, if it causes confusion, or it may cause confusion, that somebody may have thought to change that and explain that he served in Italy and not in Afghanistan?
I mean, what would you suggest it be changed to, I guess?
Simply to add the words in Italy. Served in support of Operation Enduring Freedom in Italy. Simple as that, because then it specifies that he served in Italy. Now, don't get me wrong, I certainly appreciate the Congressman's service. 24 years in the National Guard, we're both National Guardsmen ourselves. We appreciate his service, and we appreciate his being deployed. But there's a huge difference between being deployed to a base in Italy and being in the combat zone in Afghanistan. Okay. Are you aware of any of the media reports from 2006 that inaccurately cited the Congressman as a war veteran?
Specifically, I can't think of any right now, but I don't. I would imagine that I know people have approached me as a staffer and thought that, and so I've corrected them. If you serve in support of an operation, you're not necessarily a veteran of that operation. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So your question is more about this picture than his biography.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
The biography is one of them. That's bad. That's misleading. That's a little bad. This right here, under current U.S. law, this could get the congressman probably thrown in jail in violation of the 2006 Stolen Valor Act, which says it is a crime, a federal crime, to portray yourself in writing or verbally as having received an award or decoration authorized by Congress that you didn't receive. Congressman Wallace is clearly claiming in this sign, in this picture with this sign, to be an Enduring Freedom veteran. He is clearly, nobody disputes the fact that he is not an Afghanistan or Enduring Freedom veteran. So this represents a fairly serious issue. So can I leave you my name and number, and can I trust that someone will get back to me on this issue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me grab it. Dave, was it?
Yes.
How do you spell your last name?
Thule, T-H-U-L.
And you're from Motown?
Yes.
Did you want to leave any of this?
Yes, I'm going to leave this for you. This is a copy of the picture, so you guys have exactly what I'm looking at. And this is a copy of the story that I'm working off of. I'm also a blogger that's opposed to this. So I will leave you with all the information there that is relevant to this. And I'll leave you with a copy of the picture. And I will hope to hear from someone in the congressman's office, if not the congressman, because this is a fairly serious matter and it needs to be addressed.
Okay. And you posted this then? This is posted online?
Yes, it's posted on Monday.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your help and cooperation.
Thoughts?
So, confronted with it directly, it must be a miserable experience to go to a congressman or senator's office and to have them not care about anything that you're saying. I wouldn't know anything about what that was like. Now, would I, Kay?
Actually, you know it very well.
Yeah, sadly, because there is no requirement for accountability there. And I think that that's certainly one of the things that would change. Certainly, it would change if we went to something like that 30,000 concept that I'm always harping on, because, well, they're going to be one of your neighbors and they have to answer to that. And you just get the rest of your neighbors to talk to whoever your congressman is. And I bet you things get changed real fast. We know they're a bunch of liars. We know that they don't care. The only thing they care about is their power. And there will be no accountability until things change. But how do we get them to change? Getting out to the voting booth, actually go vote for President Trump. Get everybody you know to vote for President Trump, especially the people that think that their vote doesn't matter, because it does matter, because it makes it too big to rig. And then we'll start to see some justice with things like this, with his stolen valor and lying to people that are more innocent minded and don't think or see these kinds of things very often. Clearly, this wasn't on the legacy media news blasted all over the place like they were talking about Trump and his bone spurs. But I think that this is something that's just a little bit different. And this was somebody who appears to have used the military only for their personal gain and for a check in the box to make it look like there's some kind of good candidate, when in all actuality, they're making it sound like there's some war hero that spent their time in Italy.
Exactly.
Last time I heard Italy was rough was, I don't know, when Patton was there.
Exactly.
Hmm.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
This guy.
In Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and their personal choices that they make.
Do you? I'm gonna let him continue.
Even if we wouldn't make the same choice for ourselves, there's a golden rule. Mind your own damn business.
This right here is hypocrisy at its finest. So you heard his golden rule. The golden rule is mind your own damn business. He also said they respect the choices that other people make. Did you know in 2020, his administration set up a COVID snitching hotline? Yes, you heard that correctly. Minnesota, his administration set up a snitching hotline so people could tell on the people who were breaking the restrictions that he set in place. But now he's out here talking about mind your damn business. Not to mention, under his watch, $500 million worth of damage were done in his cities. George Floyd. Just crazy. The level of hypocrisy you have to come out here and talk about people minding their business when you literally created a snitching line for people to not mind their business, surveillance other people, and snitch on them it's crazy. It's wild. Like I said, hypocrisy at its finest.
Thoughts?
Some Ministry of Truth 1984 George Orwellian kind of crap right there. And then he's going to talk about mind your own business and create a snitch line. Yeah. Well, I have a feeling that the records from that snitch line will be looked at in the future, and will certainly get an idea about who those kinds of people are, if those people aren't already kind of getting looked at. But, snitches are going to snitch, and they're going to do things to try to make other people miserable because they themselves are miserable. And so they go out of their way to try to, I don't know, get people banned. They go out of their way to try to get people sent to Homeland Security. They want FEMA camps. That's the kind of people they are. You call and snitch on somebody because they're out playing lacrosse without a mask on. Well, you're just a special kind of asshole, and nobody really likes you to begin with. And you just hide behind something. It's no different than hiding behind a keyboard and talking trash on the internet, because you don't have the wherewithal or the intestinal fortitude or the belief in who you are enough so that you're willing to say something to somebody's face and let them know that you disagree with their behavior, and that you feel that their behavior is a threat to everybody else.
I can see exactly why Bethany cannot stand this man. And Bethany is not normally like,
oh, she gets bent out of shape.
But not normally, but
not normally, not at all.
This guy really gets on her last good nerve.
Yes, he does. Yeah. Well, tyrants have a tendency to upset people.
Mm-hmm. I can see why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yes. Oop.
I'm your only customer. Why are you always polishing the glass? Trick or the treat. Makes people nervous when a bartender just stands there. So lay some bartender wisdom on me. I'm lost in space here. You're not where you want to be. You feel like you're supposed to be somewhere else. You said it. Well, say you could snap your fingers and be wherever you wanted to be. I bet you'd still feel this way, not in the right place. Point is, you can't get so hung up on where you'd rather be. You forget how to make the most of where you are. What are you telling me? Take a break from worrying about what you can't control. Live a little. Live a little.
right, Santino.
Not where you want to be. But even if you were at the place you wanted to be, you probably still wouldn't be happy. That's because the work needs to be done on the inside. You need to be comfortable with wherever you're at, because wherever you're at is exactly where you are supposed to be. It may not be where you would like to be, but you're where you need to be. So that way you can, when you finally do get to the place that you want to be, you will already be there in your head and your heart. And that's the thing that truly matters is we got to recognize the gifts that we have surrounding us all of the time. There may be some miserable things going on. There may be some, you can't get all your bills paid. You're struggling to even put food on the table at times. And these are very real things. And that's certainly where nobody wants to be. But once we recognize that how beautiful a piece of fruit is, and we truly appreciate that one piece of fruit that we do have at that moment, then the world opens up to you. It may not be a cornucopia of food and fruits and whatever, but it is in that moment because you can only eat one at a time. And so recognize the things and the gifts that you do have in life, so that way you can truly appreciate all the other gifts that are coming to you. It really is just a matter of being content with where you are at that moment. And once you recognize that you're content with the things that you have, then you can truly open up and be happy. And then you can live a little. So please go out there and live a little. And the only way you can do that is to be happy with the very things that have been given to you right now. Once you're happy with the things that you've been given right now, you can be given so much more. And life will be even more and more beautiful every single day.
Exactly.
Seasoning.
Exactly. A lot of people think, oh, the grass is greener on the other side, or I'll be happy if this happens, or I'll be happy if that happens. No, you got to be happy within first. Once you're happy within, everything else falls into place. Everything.
Very true. And to get a little bit of seasoning on what you said, the grass is always greener on the other side. The corollary to that is the grass is always greener over the septic tank.
Amen.
And with that being said, we hope that y'all have an amazing weekend. We'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and pill.net.
And if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. If you're over on X, smash that heart.
There we go.
And remember, next Thursday, 1 week from today, Miss Jenny, Christian, and Doc will be here. And I'm so excited.
So happy for all three of them to be here.
And I know it's Thursday, and that means we don't see you guys until Monday. And I'm going to miss you guys.
We are going to miss each and every one of you. Well,
but we love you.
We do. We love you all. Thank you for joining us. We love you all. Have a great weekend. God bless and be safe.